That note, three.
Hello, everybody.
It wasn't.
we are
no,
live.
We are live, but no, Chris, it wasn't really a plan to get drunk. It just kind of happened.
He had the homeowner's blues today, so he decided
Yeah.
to get drunk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to the live show. And I got to make an announcement here. Of course, he's not here. Although if he was, his ego would take up the whole screen. Aaron is not here with us right now. However, I let everybody vote. We let this be a democracy. I said this. It was so funny, too, because I say, I want the show to be about sports entertainment because it's not wrestling anymore. So I don't want wrestle or wrestling in the title. And, of course, the new title of the show is... There it is. That's Not Wrestling. That's the new title of the show. Welcome to We Can't Wrestle Podcast presents That's Not Wrestling live on Facebook and YouTube. Welcome, everybody. It's been a couple of weeks. Chris and Kyle are here with me. Thank you for joining me, gentlemen.
Christ, we're never going to hear the end of it from Aaron about him.
No. I'll be hearing about this in 2027.
I find it charming that you guys think that he needs an excuse to say something.
Touche.
Yeah, true.
Touche. Hope all the dads.
If anything, this is actually a good thing because now he actually has a reason and topic for his spouting. It's not just random 3 a.m. messages of, "Hey, you guys."
Hey, you guys.
Now it's going to be 4 a.m. things of, "Yeah, that's right. I
Remember
that bitch."
Remember when I renamed that show for you? So I want to say I hope all the dads in the group had a wonderful Father's Day today. I know I did. Did a little relaxing with the family. Got a pretty cool commissioned art from them as a Father's Day gift. That was pretty neat.
That was pretty cool.
Cool stuff.
I feel bad for your son now, though, because now you are always and forever going to call him Padawan, and he's not going to be able to escape it. Because if you say something, you're going to be like, "Look, it's right there."
The artist captured his shit-eating grin to perfection, too.
Yeah, that's the thing I saw. I was like, yep. That's it.
In all fairness, they captured your wife's, "I'm just letting my husband do his thing."
letting him do his geekery.
Yeah.
I'm here with this saber thing.
Yeah, they captured her. I can't be disappointed because I chose this face.
May the force be with me. May the force be with me.
Not only does she tolerate it, but she instigates it. She encourages it.
She does.
So
because everyone needs something to laugh at.
Well, you see the background of the show here tonight.
I thought it was because that you have some magic stuff going downstairs. I don't know.
He uses the force.
Yeah.
That's not wrestling, baby.
He's got it going on. Not a flashlight.
All right, let's see. 3 minutes, 25 seconds off the rails. Love it. Yeah. You know, we're back in business. More recording of segments for episode 100 to come this week, and much more coming up. So, as you can see, the background, I have set it as the WWE's tribute picture to The Undertaker, who, as of right now, Chris was discussing this before we went on the air, and he can discuss his theory. But as of right now, Taker apparently is officially retired. Now, I want to bring up something that... Brian McGraw. Hey, Nate, thank you again for the prize of the Kevin Nash 8x10 and custom figure by Archie. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Brian. You're the guys that are awesome. Actually, listening to us, stooges. I brought up in the chat, in the podcast host chat, I don't know, last week before or something, that, and I want to know what you guys think. Do you think I'm right when I say, as far as a performer goes, as far as a worker goes, I think that Taker he's like if the best DNA of Andre and Terry Funk came together. And the reason I'm saying this is a draw of the magnitude of Andre. I mean, let's be honest, he probably drew more money than Andre ever did. Yeah. And being a locker room leader, being a guy that could work with anybody, the psychology, of Terry Funk. And again, it's not saying that he's absolutely exactly like them, but that's what I see when I see him, and maybe multiple retirements. But
but I said it a couple of weeks ago, and I'll say it again. I think the best praise I can give to him is if you look at the gimmick, the Undertaker, an undead wizard.
Never should have worked.
No,
Yeah,
it's the
never
dumbest
should've
fucking gimmick that there has ever been. It shouldn't have worked. An undead fucking wizard that's a zombie. Like, it shouldn't have worked. But
Like,
damn, did he fucking make it work?
in all fairness, though, would it really have worked if they wouldn't have put him with someone out of the gate like Paul?
Probably not.
yeah, I mean, working with him definitely probably helped him a lot.
Help?
I mean,
I think it actually made it, because think about it, he didn't really speak.
right.
And how well would that a gimmick have went over as a solo act with no mouthpiece, no nothing, just...
Yeah, and you're right, because at that time he couldn't because of the character, he couldn't let his natural personality come out, and the brother love thing wasn't going to work. It was awkward. It was awkward that they were even together. Like, you look at that pairing now, and you're just like, hmm?
But
I thought that was a good idea.
I honestly think that I'm sorry not to stop you, Kyle, but to me that proves that Percy is, like, I'm probably going to get railed for this, but I think it puts him better than Bobby. Because Bobby, as awesome and an amazing of a manager that he was, every one of his guys could have survived, maybe not anything past the mid-card, but they could have survived on their own.
Right.
That Undertaker gimmick would have been dead in the water, not even make it to mid-card without Percy.
You know, and what you just kind of said, I think I see where you're going with it. Like, with Bobby Heenan, it was like, those are Bobby Heenan's guys. Like, Bobby Heenan, it was hard to...
He elevated them.
He elevated them, but he was the center of attention a lot of the times, too.
Well,
Paul Bearer was more of that enhancement, like, he just added to.
They were a package, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not taking anything away from Mark whatsoever. I don't want anyone to think that whatsoever.
No, and I totally agree with what you're saying. Like, those first few years, if it wouldn't have been for the Paul Bearer character being attached to The Undertaker, you're right, it would have sunk, because promos like this would not have been able to... You know what I'm saying? Like, it just wouldn't...
Also, think about it, too.
Well, how long was it before he even did, like, half a promo, even with Paul, though?
Right.
But think about it. It's showmanship 101. Because you have Paul Bearer speaking for you, so the first time The Undertaker says, rest in peace, the people are going to fucking come because of it. Because you haven't heard it. It's the same thing with Kane, when Kane had the fucking voice box thing.
We won't discuss that.
It worked, though. I mean,
First words, rest in peace, compared to first words, robotic suck it, are nowhere in the same league at all.
Suck it.
Was Suck It his first one?
Oh, I'm sorry. Suck-It was the first ones without the voice.
Yeah,
I thought his first one was when he said, like, Austin.
Oh, yeah, that was... Did you say, Austin, you can suck it?
Yeah. And Austin said, okay.
Yeah, you're right. It was going into the King of the Ring, 98, the first blood match.
But the blood will be on you. Will be.
But the one I remember is Suck It. So that, you know...
Yeah.
I think I had a guy with a voice box tell me that one time when I wouldn't take his game at GameStop too. But anyway, Suck It.
Although I like the Rock's thing about this promo about it. He's like, "Oh, good, the big red dumb freak can talk now."
So, what do you think is, if you reflect back, what is your favorite part of Taker's career? Oh, and I do want to say, hold on. I do want to say one more thing. I did not enjoy, you guys know, I did not enjoy the Boneyard match. I know Aaron calls it the Bone Zone match, but the Boneyard match, because of what it was. But I will say this. If the two guys that did it were happy with it, then who the fuck am I to say? You know what I mean? I mean, I guess overall, whatever. I didn't care for it. Okay, it was a spectacle, and it was different. Actually, the funny thing is, I watched that last episode with my wife today, and I told her, I said, that match or that whatever it wasn't great for WrestleMania, but it was an amazing Master of Puppets video. Like, it was a really cool Master of Puppets video.
Well, think about it. Okay, look, with Undertaker the last couple of years, it's been a hit or miss. If he has a good match or a bad match.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I'd rather see it where it's pre-taped like that, where they can work around it to make Taker look like the Taker of old. Let him go out, instead of him, us being like, maybe he had one too many.
Jesus, he dropped that guy on his head. Yeah.
Like, at least with this, it's like he goes out on top. He looks good. Because, you say what you want to say about it. Tell me that Undertaker didn't look as good as he did 15 years ago in that.
He did.
Did. So
now, my honestly, my favorite part of his career. It's funny. It's not the beginning. It's not the end. It's the middle. From probably, let's say, WrestleMania 20 till what was the Mania with Punk? 29.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite era of his career. My favorite chunk of his career. I think he had his best matches. I liked the mixture of the Dead Man and the American Badass character, kind of. Those were, his match with Michaels at 25 is my favorite match ever. It's that era of him, to me, is my favorite 9 years probably of his career.
I think one of my favorite, not pay-per-view, like televised, was him and Jeff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that little era too there, where he's putting a bunch of young guys over, and
exactly, he's one of the very few that could make himself still go over, make himself look strong as shit, but still make the guy who he pretty much made into a grease stain on the mat look good.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what happened when he had that match with Jeff. Like how they just had the whole Jeff going, I'm still and Taker's going, God damn it.
My favorite is that 2002 to 2003, like the Big Evil.
Mm-hmm. Book of Red.
Well, think about it, because it goes into the
or JR.
Because of the fact, like, think about it, like the whole Vince McMahon and Taker in a Buried Alive match. That right there fucking sells the tickets.
And Vince got busted the fuck open.
The first like 10 seconds. Jesus, is he fucking bleeding like buckets? It's like, he only has one. Go back and watch it. He has one offensive move. He hits Taker with a shovel. The rest of it is him just getting the shit beat out of him. That is,
and we're getting off topic, whatever. But that is my favorite thing about Vince. Is the best.
Topic? No.
the best Vince matches are, example, WrestleMania 22 with Shawn Michaels.
Yep.
He has absolutely not one offensive move in that entire match. He just gets the shit beat out of him for 15 minutes. And then when Shawn brings out the big ladder and Shane's like, it's fantastic.
Speaking of Shane, I think Vince has Shane's best match at WrestleMania 17. That whole match is fun to watch, man. Seeing
Shane
Linda
was
stand
the
up.
unsung hero of Vince and Shawn.
What was that?
I said Shane was the unsung hero of that Vince Shawn thing, like in the church.
Yeah. May God strike me down. Shane's like.
You know what? That's funny, but as great as that is, when he walks in and takes the blessing water and takes it in and does the Triple H, he's like, I don't know how the hell he does that. Come on. It's funny.
Well, Undertaker, I hope, and this isn't to say I don't like the guy, but I hope this is it, because I think they really... You got to that point after WrestleMania 30, where every single year he's coming back, and it starts to feel, okay, this isn't special anymore. Yep. They're just treading this guy out in Saudi Arabia. They're treading him out for and then, I don't know, it stopped feeling special. So, and that's not a knock on him. That's not a knock on him. It's just, him
and Roman, the whole grandeur of it after it, that should have been it to me, and I
Right.
think a lot of other people, because the grandeur and the sentiment and the emotion in that arena when he did the whole gloves, hat, coat, everything, to come back after that, to me, that was a shit on every fan that was there, every fan that watched it,
Mhm.
because that is just a step below a wrestler coming out, finding out they have an injury, and giving that heartfelt goodbye. That, to me, that was the unspoken best way ever of anyone ever saying goodbye, and it wasn't.
Right. And I mean, watching the documentary, I guess I kind of understand why he didn't let that be it, because he wasn't satisfied with it. He didn't think that he gave us a proper send off by having a shitty match, pretty much. So I see your perspective, but I see what he was saying too. But then, you've got the Saudi Arabia thing, that Goldberg debacle, and that stuff is all there now because he didn't just let it go. And
I honestly, personally, I think Survivor Series is where he should have retired.
I do too. I thought it would be this year at Survivor Series because it's 30 years.
Right.
And to your point earlier, it could be. This could be a swerve. Somebody could call him out of retirement, and he could have his last match at Survivor Series.
It's going to be AJ Styles. It's going to be AJ Styles, but I don't know. To me, like I said, the thing you can say at least about Ric Flair and TNA is that nobody fucking can find it now.
True. Nobody. Yeah, it's like
hardly
seven
anybody fucking saw
seven
it.
people saw it.
Yeah. So it is what it is. I mean,
and it gave us the Jay Lethal Ric Flair Woo Fest, which is the best thing to come out of Flair's
God.
TNA run. Period. End of story. I love the thing about when you're walking past a house and a little dog hears you or whatever. It's like woo 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 woo. So we didn't get to talk about it because we didn't do a show last week because Nate didn't feel good. But I want to talk about two things. Dave DeRozier, what's up? How you doing, buddy? Welcome to the Shizo.
Hi, Dave.
Two things about Backlash. First of all,
don't you get me fucking started about Backlash.
the main reason that this show is not called what it used to be called anymore is that wasn't wrestling. And I talked to one of the guys from the Asylum, John Majewski, and I were having a conversation about Orton and Edge's greatest wrestling match ever. And he says, so you didn't think it was a good match? And I said, I thought it was a really, really good movie. What do you mean? Well, it couldn't have been. You're shitting on Steamboat and Savage. You're shitting on Hart and Hart. You're shitting on Hart and Austin. You're shitting on Michaels and Taker when you say that a post-produced thing was a wrestling match. It was as much a wrestling match as Hogan versus Zeus on No Holds Barred.
No.
It wasn't that it was bad. It wasn't that it was bad. But I can't call that a wrestling match. Am I wrong?
Here's what it was. It was like being in an abusive relationship. Seriously, you in this abusive relationship
so quickly.
and the person's like, I can change, I've changed, and you're fucking gullible and you believe it, and you're like, you know what? Maybe they have changed, and as soon as they come back, they fucking pop you in the eye. That's what it was. They're like, we're gonna call this the greatest wrestling match ever. It was like, oh, fucking cool. We're gonna bring back I'm blanking on his name.
Wrestling?
No. We're gonna bring back he just passed away.
Mr. Wrestling 2?
No, the announcer.
The announcer that just passed away. Lance Russell? Well, he passed away last year.
Finkel?
Huh?
Howard Finkel?
Yes, thank you, Howard Finkel. I don't know why I'm drunk. Leave me alone. Come on, it's live TV. Fuck off. But no.
At least we can see that it's not a dark Facebook Live thing, so we should be grateful for that.
It's true. But no, you bring back Howard Finkel's voice to like play it off. You bring back the MSG, microphone.
Which was all cool. It was all cool. It was a cool touch.
And then all of a sudden, here comes the fucking music.
Mm-hmm.
and here comes the camera angles, and here comes
that the minute they did the underneath camera angle when they locked up, I was like, fuck it, I'm out. This is like, god damn it.
It was like
I didn't even mind the crowd noise. I didn't even mind that because you know what? In the 90s, my entire wrestling fandom there was post-produced crowd noise. I was even okay with that. We lived through that. But the way the thing was shot, and again, it was not that it was bad, but it was not a professional wrestling match. It was.
I'm not gonna lie, I've heard so much negative about this show. I still haven't watched Backlash because I haven't heard anything that makes me want to go, I should at least check it out. I don't even heard anything of that.
At least with Money in the Bank and the Boneyard match and everything else and the Firefly Funhouse match and everything else, it was like you knew what it was gonna fucking be.
Yeah,
you knew it was gonna be bullshit.
You were like, hit me again, Ike, and this time put some stank on it.
Exactly. With them sitting there saying, "This is the greatest wrestling match ever," you fucking. You know what? I stuck my chin out there. I was like, maybe, and boom.
Now, Chris, I would recommend that of that pay-per-view, you give that a chance. Again, because it's not bad.
He says,
it's not
give that a chance, and he even said as soon as they locked up, I was done. But yeah, you should try it too. I think what that roughly translates to, that's Nate's way of saying, bastard, I suffered, you suffer.
You suffer. But don't ever watch the Viking Raiders. What the fuck's what are their names? The Smoke guys. Street Profits. Don't ever watch that. Don't ever watch that.
Honestly, I've been done with the Street Profits.
Oh, you know me. I've hated them since the beginning. I didn't like them from the beginning, but this thing was literally. It was like live action Looney Tunes, but not good.
Why are we watching wrestlers on a golf course in a bowling alley?
Or having a flashback or a dream sequence or what the fuck ever was going on.
Because they're doing the whole throwback, and now they're thinking about like Lord Alfred Hayes and Bobby Heenan's like escapades. So we're going to do it with these guys.
But they're not funny.
And not to mention...
Vince thinks it's funny, pal.
Not to mention, Bobby Heenan and Lord Alfred Hayes were not conveying that they were that they were competing against each other for a fucking championship. It drives me nuts. It's not wrestling. That's my whole point of this whole thing. It's not anymore.
Right there. That's not wrestling. It's on
everybody point to it.
Yeah, it's on the marquee, ladies and gentlemen. It's not wrestling.
Dave DeRozier just said, do you guys truly think Taker is retired? Dave, before you joined us, we discussed that. Chris does not. Kyle and I are pretty sure that he is.
Should I go into a quick abridged reason of why I think it's not?
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Already within 2 months, we have had that company squander and fictionalize and placate a life-altering thing for people with terminations, and turn around and turn an actual termination into nothing more than a storyline. So we're supposed to believe that you will placate a storyline, and now all of a sudden expect a retirement to be true. Second, it has been well documented, that Vince despises the network. He wants to do away with the network. So why would he allow such a monumental history-making announcement such as Undertaker's retirement be breaking news per se on the network
that he hates? Oh, and by the way, you bringing that up, you two probably know, but the fans probably don't. I have like 2 70-gallon totes full of wrestling DVDs from before the days of the network. And that is exactly why I have never sold any of them, gotten rid of any of them, anything. Because I have rips of the 90s Raws and everything. That's why I've never gotten rid of that stuff, because I figured one day either the network wouldn't do well and it would be gone, or Vince would say, I don't want this anymore, and it would be gone. And then I'd be like, fuck, I have to get all that shit again. So yeah, I've kept all that stuff. The only thing that'll suck about that is a lot of the DVDs have welcome to the WWE. the WWE champion, because it was from that time where they were editing everything because of the Panda thing. But yeah, I hope that the network stays around until he dies, so that because Triple H won't get rid of it.
No.
But
honestly, I think the only thing keeping it alive is the ridiculous surgeons and popularity and new norm that is streaming services.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think that's the only thing that's keeping it going right now with Vince, is because since he always is so wanting to be current and hip and cool with the new kids.
That's how I look at. By the way, that's how I look at Chris Jericho right now. Chris Jericho's like, I want to be like all these cool kids. I want to be with the cool. He's like the old guy trying to hang out with the cool kids. Oh, let's hit him with a bag of oranges. Wouldn't that be cool, kids? He's fucking stupid. I love Chris Jericho.
Coolers.
But what the hell? I guess that'll be the next thing. Why is he doing this to himself?
I'm going to say this. This is true. But I'm going to say this right now. I will give this right here, right now, to any fan that's watching right now.
Is this about Jericho or White Claw?
White Claw. You
okay.
ever
Jericho drinking White Claw
in my hand? You walk up and slap me in the goddamn face because I won't. No. This
he
is
says that now.
Gets, ladies and
now in like 2 or 3 months,
Jack
wrestling. 2 or 3 months from now, some wrestling superstar will have an endorsement with White Claw, and we'll all be going, "This White Claw is great."
Yeah, it'll be fucking Matt Riddle. Watch, bro.
So it'll help you be hydrated, bro.
Oh, I bet it fucking. Buy a pair of shoes, you dumbass. They don't cost that much. The fuck.
So that's like I said. I don't necessarily want to talk about any of the shows blow by blow or anything like we normally do, because I do want to get to the allegation thing at the end of the show. Bro by bro. And that's Russo and then Riddle. It's bro by bro.
God, can you imagine if they actually had him come back and manage him? Oh.
I will say this though. When it comes to wrestling and everything else, I'm super excited that we're gonna get to see fucking
Finkel.
No, Finn Balor versus God, I'm
I can't cut. We're live.
I know.
Keith Lee?
Yes, thank you. I'm excited we get to see that match. And I'm excited that whoever wins that gets to go on to face Adam Cole. Champion versus champion. Like, it really feels special.
Mm-hmm. And I also like the fact that they're keeping Karrion Kross out of that.
Yes.
And because him and his girl are fucking money, man. As you guys know, I don't watch Impact. I've never really even seen that guy before this.
It's sad. It's sad right now as it stands. The top titles in WWE is the NXT World Championship and the North American Championship. Those are the 2 titles that actually have some fucking lineage, that actually have something about it.
And they have good champions, and they have good matches for those championships.
Yeah.
But however, did you watch NXT this week? Chris, you said you're caught up on NXT? NXT this week scared me because there was a lot of goofy main roster comedy shit going on that show this week.
Oh, you talking about?
I didn't understand why. Well, I actually didn't mind that because I was just laughing too much at O'Reilly's voice. His nasally therapist impression was great to me. I was just like, what the hell? But what I didn't get is I didn't see it because I was in the other room. But from what I picked up on, apparently Grimes messed up Priest's car.
Yeah, he slashed his tires.
Didn't we just do like a let's screw up someone's car with Mizmo and Strowman?
Yeah, but the difference, I guess, I don't want to say there's a difference, but I guess I'll say this ahead of when I was actually going to say it on the show. The worst sports entertainment program on the planet is fucking SmackDown. I hate SmackDown. SmackDown gives you like one good thing a week. Like you get Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, or you get a little bit of Bray Wyatt. But it is so bad. I'd rather watch Thunder from '99 than watch modern SmackDown. SmackDown is awful. It is an awful show. It's terrible.
But in SmackDown's defense, it is only 2 hours as opposed to 3, so I watched that first.
I bet. Yeah, that's true. And you're right, because I watched the 90-minute. I watched the 90-minute Hulu Raw, so I don't know what
the abridged version.
Yeah, I haven't seen a 3-hour Raw in like 5 years. So but yeah,
I need to run to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
You can probably walk.
Yeah, you should probably walk right now.
Or stumbly.
So how cool, well, he's leaving and he'll be back. Or he might not. He might fall asleep on the toilet. But what do you think of Karrion Kross so far in NXT? I don't like the name Karrion, even though it's like, is that a Jesus thing? He's Karrion Kross. I know I did that joke already, but
because
I don't like that first name.
They can't use Killer.
Right. Well, obviously. They could have just called him Kross.
And they can't use Killian because
Right.
we got Dane. Like you said, though, I honestly think Karrion is a placeholder because, once he gets to the main roster, apparently it is the 11th commandment of McMahon that thou shalt not have two names.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we laugh, but we know it's the truth.
We know it's
That's why
true.
it's sad.
We know it's true. I have enjoyed them so far in NXT.
I can't stand Scarlett. So
Really? See, I like her, and I like the theme, and I like the act, and I like him. I like the whole thing. Like, the whole thing is over with me. I liked last week, like, when they did the little deal with the hourglass with Adam Cole. It was good old-fashioned shit. It wasn't, like, over-the-top, hokey, goofy, I can't believe this kind of thing. It was...
I'm probably one of those guys. I'd probably like Scarlett more if I hadn't seen her in Impact.
Okay. Yeah, see,
you've got that advantage. Like, if you actually seen, like, her presence in Impact, best way to describe it, think ECW Kelly.
Oof.
But as a more mature, I flat out know I'm a whore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, were they an act together in
No.
Impact also? Okay. Yeah, see, I'm oblivious to Impact. Absolutely oblivious to it.
But, I mean, if I can try to block her Impact out of my head, her appearance and presence is kind of cool. The only thing that worries me with Kross is how they always feel the need at some point in time that the heel has to become a face.
Right.
I cannot look at Kross and see a face anywhere.
No, he does not. He does not resemble. Just that. That's kind of how I always felt. I know going back, but that's kind of how I always felt about Batista. I always liked Batista better as a heel. He looks like a heel.
But he he can hide the psychopathic murderous face. Kross, he has resting killer face. You just don't look at him and be like,
hold on, he has
like a decent guy.
He has resting Karrion face now.
Yeah. Sorry.
Come on.
Well, I think here's the thing. I think you can do it because if you look at Steve Austin, no one thought Steve Austin in '96 could ever be a face.
But Steve Austin also had that working man vibe to him.
And
Kross doesn't have that either.
No, he doesn't. But the thing is, they worked they made Austin a face because they changed the heels around him.
Kross could be a face only in the way that The Rock could be a face, and that is if people just cheer him. Because The Rock, he was an asshole, whether he was a face or he was still the same douche, like the same asshole.
Karrion Kross could be a face as long as he's facing like people who are like more of a heel than him. If they make him come out and fucking dance and everything else, which leads me, I don't know what you guys talked about while I was in the bathroom.
We were just talking about Karrion Kross, really, and Scarlett.
But I'm afraid that Vince is going to want to get his fucking hands on him, like in the next 3 months. And it's like,
the original rumor was he was going to completely bypass NXT as it was.
I'm glad he didn't.
He was originally supposed to shoot right to main roster and bypass.
So
he was
glad he
supposed
didn't.
to get like the AJ treatment, just
right.
So anything else about anything going on NXT before we move to AEW?
I'm really over Balor doing the inside terms.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys he doesn't need to, and I don't understand why they're having him do it. Like when he came out this week, he was like, "Oh, now that you guys are done marking over yourselves, you can be a mark for me." I'm like, "No, no." But I do like the way Johnny Connery's like, first of all, my name's Johnny, not Mark. But I don't understand why they have him doing that. It just.
Yeah, I don't know. With it being NXT, is it a choice, or is it? See, with NXT, sometimes I can't tell. Is it because it doesn't seem like NXT is as overly scripted as the main roster is. So, because like Adam Cole, if Adam Cole's doing pre-written promos for himself, he's the best person at reading their pre-written garbage or reciting their pre-written garbage as ever. Kyle froze on me, so I took him out. We'll see if Kyle, leave and come back. Okay, there we go. I think he's back. Maybe. No, it's still a portrait. You're quite the portrait, but a portrait nonetheless.
He's kind of there.
You're kind of moving.
He's like the early days found footage scary movie. I'm so scared. All we need is some snot coming out of his nose.
Now I can't hear you. No, yeah. I mean, you sound great, but I can't hear you. Let me bring you back in. Can you hear me now? Can I hear you? Nope, can't hear you. Leave and come back. We're just going to do the rest of the show with him going. Yeah. Just slobber. Raw.
Didn't watch. Like I said, I'm a month behind.
The only good...
I don't know if you're typing or tapping on your desk.
I'm tapping. Because I was looking at my stuff about Raw, and the only good stuff going on right now on Raw is anything with Drew McIntyre and anything with Randy Orton. Other than that, Raw is super passable. I mean, it's cool that Apollo's the U.S. champion, and getting his shot at because he's having some good matches. He had a really good match this week with. Can you hear us? And we can't hear you. Nope. Silent Rage is amazing. I love Silent Rage.
It's like he just keeps saying WWF over and over and over and over again.
I'm going to take me out.
Oh, God.
Bring me back.
I was
Bring
say,
Kyle
don't leave
back.
me unattended.
All right, Kyle. No, you have no sound.
Completely clear your apps. Open the stream link again and go from there. Completely close everything out. Like, do your option close.
If he couldn't hear you, then he's probably like just gonna come right back in and be silent again. All right.
Well, the reason I told him that, his phone is probably trying to kick up the old link. Where if he completely closes everything out and comes back in, it'll force his phone to actually restart the app.
Okay, I see. Let me see here. Oh, okay. I saw that Aaron had commented in our group chat, and I want to see if it was anything about this, but it's not. Again, I'm back. I lost track. Okay, Orton, McIntyre, those are the good things on Raw. Other than that, you can fast forward through most of it. There's good matches on Raw, but none of it means anything because of the way they book them, the way they book people and shit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Just don't sit up.
I know.
That'll learn you.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Apparently, the mic is in your butt.
I don't do ups.
So,
what's that old joke? It says, "Up is it breaks the laws of gravity, and I obey the laws."
what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know, but anyways, don't.
So you didn't miss anything, though.
Shake your head at me like I'm a fucking idiot.
You didn't miss anything, though. We just talked about Raw. If we would have been talking about Raw, 20, 25 years ago, then it would have been something. But we were talking about modern Raw. So now we're moving on to AEW. I already talked about the fact that AEW's, and again, it's better than it. This is Chris Jericho shit. Just makes me mad. The Matt Hardy shit makes me mad. I don't understand why these guys are doing this. They have legacies. They've made plenty of money. They don't need to make fucking jackasses out of themselves on national television. They don't.
They're listening for some reason to the guys like Kenny Omega and Marco Stunt and all these guys. Like,
that lady Kenny Omega is no expert on anything as far as pro wrestling goes.
I understand that, but it's like
she's a moron.
But it's almost like it's reversed of how it used to be, where the young guys listen to the old guys. It's like the old guys are listening to the young guys now.
yeah. Jericho and Matt Hardy are like, I don't know. To me,
Advocate. I'm going to play the Advocate real quick. How you're saying that, and we're bitching about it being primarily Matt and Chris. They spent a large portion of their career listening to the old guy. So that could be why they're going, well, we see how that company's doing because everyone's listening to the old guy. Let's go ahead and listen to the young guy. I mean, I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it makes it good, but in their defense, I can almost see where they're coming from, because where they spent better part of decades, that was all listening to the old guy who's obviously out of touch.
And 3 years from now,
something new.
3 years from now, if WWE is number 2 and AEW is number 1 and they have surged and everything, you guys can look at me and go, hey, you were fucking wrong. But I just don't see any benefit to what either of them are doing in that company. On the other hand,
but then again, also given the way Jericho is, who's to say he's just not placating them right now and doing what they want? That way, when shit starts going sideways, he can actually step and be like, okay, I've listened to you. You see what's happened.
Ratings are in the toilet.
Can we do it right now? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't put it past Jericho to be that kind of person.
Right. And you're not wrong, because I have always looked at him as a guy that is smart to, especially he has always to me been a guy like Taker, in that he has always been smart to what is best for Chris Jericho. What is going to be the best thing for me, my character, my career right now, that can benefit everybody else, but at the end of the day, it's what's right for me.
Like, who's to say that he's not sitting back right now and saying if he objects to this stuff and rocks the boat? They have so many fresh talent now, and honestly, a buffet of who's who given the terminations lately. Who's to say they can't just be like, all right, well, go play with your band then, and we'll just do this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I get that, but I also get the feeling that Chris Jericho's like, well, fuck, I can go play with my band and fuck this. I don't need to be here. You know, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that, like, he needs the money.
No, he definitely doesn't need the money.
And I'm sure Vince would take him back in a heartbeat.
No, I don't see that happening.
With the ratings in the toilet and shit and everything else, I can see them.
You know, and that's okay. So we covered that. The good stuff on AEW right now. FTR coming in is cool. Mm-hmm. Although I cringed. Not this week, but last week when I heard one of those fucking young bucks say, "We've carried tag team wrestling on our backs for a decade," I wanted to throw my TV out the fucking front door. What? You did what? Because you can suck my balls.
I thought the same thing. In all seriousness, I knew if I thought the same thing, I literally was like, "Oh, I could probably hear Nate's aneurysm pop from here." I was like, if I open the door right now and he's watching, I could probably hear that aneurysm just go.
But what I will tell you, Chris, is watching Butcher and Blade work with FTR. I'm actually a fan of those guys now. They're growing on me. I do like them. They're cool, and they had a really good match with. And they had a good match with FTR, and I like the fact that they're actually. I wish the Bucks weren't even in this thing, and it was just FTR and Butcher and Blade right now because I enjoy that feud. That was a good match. And I like those guys. They're growing on me. I dig them.
I was a fan of Blade when he was in Impact as Braxton Sutter.
Mm-hmm.
Butcher, given the fact that dude is in theory green as shit, and he's actually a member of a metal band, and he's doing this because it's his passion, and his band actually encouraged him. His band literally was like, "Dude, you have a shot. Do it."
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you have that kind of support and you're the age that he is and you're still doing your best and you're going out there and you're actually showing that you're actually pretty damn good at this.
Mm-hmm.
I dug him that, and I like the look that he has.
I do too.
I dig the handlebar and the monocle and just like the old Victorian vibe.
He has that barrel chested, old school wrestler feel to him.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say was what I was gonna say was I watched them and I don't see awesome yet, but I see the potential for it, and it's gonna be fun to watch them grow as performers. I could definitely see those guys being a big deal in the next couple of years.
I'm just confused on when Allie stopped being funny.
It just happened. And it happened on Dark, and they never made any mention of it or any. It just happened. They were just like, "That's over. This is now my thing." I don't
understand why they split them up again and put her in this relationship, because she actually is with Braxton in real life.
Mm-hmm.
They've been together for years.
Yeah, and it literally
putting them together in Impact, and then when they showed up in AEW together, I was like, "Sweet, we're going to keep doing this." And then all of a sudden, like I said, I was watching it and I was like,
yeah, they literally gave no explanation at all. This one day on Dark, that's what she was doing.
Just like I don't get QT Marshall.
QT Marshall.
Whatever. I don't get him. I don't.
Mm-mm.
I'm not invested in him. And apparently they did some Dark segment where DDP personally handed down the diamond cutter to him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so you handed it down to the guy that eats apples and hangs out with the Rhodes.
You know what I don't understand either? Okay, I was about to say one of my favorite things about the show is Cody Rhodes, but one thing I want to say about the Rhodes is they've done this twice now, and it's bothered me both times. Now, granted, the Rhodes MJF feud was cool, but I didn't like the beginning of it because it was like all of a sudden, okay, how do we get this feud started between these guys? Okay, we've never mentioned this before. It's never been a thing of, but did you know Cody Rhodes and MJF have been good friends for a really long time? Like, just out of the blue. And they kind of did this with this Marshall guy too. Like everybody starts out like, did you know that they've been Cody Rhodes' best friend for a really long time? And it's like, what is that? Your only way to start a storyline? Because I mean, just out of the blue, everybody's Cody's best friend.
In all fairness, at least with QT, like he's always been there. Like even when the NWA stuff and the whole Nightmare family.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice and you go back and watch it, they don't mention who the hell he is.
Right.
It was like he was part of the entourage, kind of like how D'Lo started as like the nerd follower of Farouk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? No, but he's always been there. So at least with QT, he was always there. We didn't know who the hell he was.
Right.
But he was always there. MJF was just like all of a sudden.
Yeah, it turned out to.
With QT, at least they're not like He doesn't
Out of
have
the
a
blue.
rocket strapped to his ass.
They just didn't pull it out of the blue. That was my own.
It's being a gradual thing.
The MJF
out of nowhere was just like boom.
He's Dusty. He's Cody's best friend. Okay, Nate, go grab him beer, and then we will discuss. We'll round up the show by discussing the whole allegations thing. I'll be right back.
So, I want to talk to Chris while you're gone, but
well, who else you going to talk to? He's getting beer, jackass.
Myself.
You probably do that anyway.
I do. It's great. It's been how long since All Out or Double or Nothing or wherever the hell the pay-per-view when they showed the title off, the TNT Championship. It's been
quarantines happened. I can't tell days.
But anyways, the fact is, they still haven't fixed the belt after all this. Like, you're out this with this like fucking belt that looks like a thing of tin. And
I just don't dig the overall look of it. I honestly don't even know if it was gold, if it would make any difference.
Fair enough, but the fact is that it still looks like shit though because it's not finished, and the fact is that we all know it's not finished.
Well, here's the other thing: whoever is doing the belt is the geographic location of where the belt's being made actually in the correct phase, given the current global situation that they can be back in their shop doing things? That's the other question.
Yeah, it is, but still though.
So I mean, in theory, maybe wherever the belt is being manufactured still isn't permitted to be in their fab shop or whatever to do it correctly. Nobody knows.
Right.
I don't know. I can't say nobody knows, but I don't know.
I bet you that's the way the title belt's supposed to be, and they're gonna just hope we all forget about it.
I decided to take the show on the road so I could have a cigarette.
There goes Nate out the curtain.
Out the curtain. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if it's that or if it's just going to get to the point that since Cody is doing his best to showcase this title as such a relevant thing that they're just going to assume that we just accept it because we've seen it on such a regular basis and I'm going to bother now.
Yep.
I mean, personally, the whole Line-X looking spray liner for the TNT bugs me more than anything.
I hate that.
When you break it down, like the side plates and everything, I get it because it has heritage back to TNT. Like the house that's on it has something to do with the original TNT and TBS and all that. I get it. Like they're tying back into like the history of the station. But to me, it just doesn't look good. Like the TNT itself, like I said, it looks like they took Line-X spray-on bed liner and taped off the belt and just went, this part of the belt will hold up forever.
Done.
It don't matter how many times it gets bounced off someone's head.
The TNT Championship brought to you by Rhino Lining.
Yeah. Well, I guess we've put it off long enough, guys. It's time to talk about some allegations.
Yes, the Me Too movement reaches professional wrestling.
Now, let me start this off like this. Everything that we're going to bring up here is alleged.
Yep. Except Joey Ryan. Except Joey Ryan. I knew he was a fucking pedophile the minute I laid eyes on that.
Right.
No, we actually have to say except for Gallagher because he actually did admit.
He admitted it. Now, okay. Matt Riddle. I don't know if you guys read this, and again, this is Dave Meltzer, and you know how I feel about Dave. He's right half the time and wrong half the time, just like the rest of us. But according to Dave Meltzer, Riddle is not in trouble because when he started with the WWE, he told them about this woman and that she had been stalking him and his friends and family for a long time. So, if that's the case, Kyle, you may have to put up with Matt Riddle longer.
I don't know what the fascination is with Matt Riddle. I don't get it. Like I said, I just don't. I mean,
But that's the story on him. Apparently, according to Meltzer, the WWE already knew about all this, and this has been going on before he signed with them. And this lady has just now decided to make it public. So, and that's again, everything's alleged. I don't know what's true, but I read that today, and I wanted to get that out there.
Like I said, the only thing that bothers me is how, like, I completely understand it. By no means should we support or condone the type of allegations that are going around. But I guess my mentality is Gallagher came forward, stepped up, admitted shit, and they're giving him, for lack of a better term, the Benoit treatment.
Right.
So my only expectation is if investigations go forward, allegations are proven true on individuals that are denying it, I would pray, hope, and expect that just as severe, if not worse, repercussion punishment is dealt out to those individuals.
I agree. Can you guys both hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you're really loud and humming in my set, though.
Let me move this microphone backwards.
Look, the fact is that, we were talking earlier about hazing and stuff and everything else. And you know what?
It's not new.
No, it's not new. And you know what? Yes, guys, look, many of the places that I've worked at and stuff, there's a sense of hazing and stuff that goes on. It's initiation. We get it. But there's also a point where it crosses that line.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if we're going to take this level of hazing and everything so seriously, and all this and all that, yeah, I'm going to go there. What about the documented type shit, like with Orton, like with JBL, and those type of guys? Like, how is it now blasphemous and destructive to these new guys, but it's to these guys?
JBL's always been a dichotomy to me because I like JBL the character and the performer, but I think JBL is a piece of shit human being. I always enjoyed JBL on my TV, but I always also in the back of my mind knew, man, this guy's a real piece of shit.
And they're putting him in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, maybe. I mean, if it ever happens.
You know what I'm saying, though? So how is that going to look when his shit is known and documented, and they are elevating him to, for lack of better terms, immortal status in a Hall of Fame? Granted, it's nothing more than a placation of ego, because there is no actual, like, brick and mortar building, actual Hall of Fame. It's a placation of ego and popularity. Mm-hmm. But we're going to immortalize this man in a Hall of Fame. But these new guys like Gallagher, Devlin, Ryan, Riddle, if all the rest of them come out to be true and whatnot, we're going to bury and destroy and annihilate them from ever existing.
And in no way,
this guy who we know did shit, right, that's documented and he's admitted it, we'll put him on a pedestal in a Hall of Fame.
And in no way are we saying what they did is okay. Well, what Chris is pointing out is the double standard, which absolutely exists. Absolutely exists.
This might be a little controversial, but this is my issue with everything like this. Why is it just now coming out? Mm-hmm. Why is it that people waited till now to say anything? Is it because they felt like they couldn't say anything? And if that's the case, then we need to look at that situation and realize why people feel like they can't come out and say something, why they're scared to say something, whether it be retaliation or what. The problem is, without getting too political on here, but the whole Black Lives Matter thing. Obviously, the systems are fucked. When you look at the whole. I don't know if we can still say, the whole quarantine and everything else, but with unemployment and everything else, nothing else shows that. Guess what, guys? problems are there, and looking the other way and hoping they just disappear ain't the solution.
No.
And I think that's the problem with this.
That is also going to be a problem with this, in that the movement to protest against injustices, I totally support. But what happens is you have people that have a real issue, a real problem, and have really been the victims of something. And what happens is the crazies move on in and loot and riot and fucking take Elmer Fudd's gun away. And these people come in and do crazy things, and they muddy up a real issue. What happens is false accusations are going to demean the real problems, the actual situations.
Well, also, if I could chime in on what Kyle said about how if they're just now feeling that they could say something and why haven't they before? In all fairness, let's go back and look at something recent. Look at Morello.
Mm-hmm.
He did come forward. He has documented mental issues. And what happened when he came forward? Everyone supported it for a second, and then it was just like, oh, he's just going overboard because of his mental status.
Right.
No, well,
so how seriously was it actually taken with him?
No, it wasn't, and that in itself is.
So I mean, think about it. What I'm getting at is if people in the general populace brush it aside because he's overreacting because of his mental illness. If other victims haven't come forward, I can see where they're coming from. If they're like, this dude took even more because he knew he would be chastised because he's not stable, and he still did everything he could to come forward, and no one gave a shit about him. What's going to happen if I actually do anything? If they didn't care about a guy who's getting hazed, who has mental issues, I don't have mental issues. This is happening to me. Who's actually going to give a shit?
Right.
And that speaks in itself to how fucked up the systems are. That in this country, that we look at mental health and stuff in such a horrible light. Because I know we're going long, and I don't mean to get off on a tangent here, but you look at any major, you look at Jeffrey Dahmer. He knew he had mental issues. Look at John Wayne Gacy. He knew he had mental issues. Problem was, they felt like they couldn't go and talk to anybody because the minute you do, you're labeled as, oh, well, you're not right. You're exactly.
And fingers taste like chicken.
Well, this is true. But the problem is that we live in a country now where, people are chastised and alienated because they are considered different. And it's bullshit. And it's a bigger problem. Same thing with the whole Black Lives Matter. It's not just about cops and everything else. There's a whole bigger issue that we need to look at and take care of to fix it. And the problem is that, we like to brush stuff underneath the rug and pretend like it's not going to happen, or turn our eyes to it. And it's the same thing with this all these allegations and everything else that's going on right now.
And that's what I'm saying is, I totally support anybody that has been abused or taken advantage of, and it's the truth. My biggest fear is that you're going to get a lot of bullshit accusations based on
gaslighting.
Yes. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that people take advantage of real problems that people have. So the last thing, unless you guys have anything else, the main event in this whole allegations thing, and I don't want to talk about it too. I mean, I don't. Not that I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to express my opinion on it too much because I do respect him, and he is actually just going to come out apparently on his podcast this week and talk about it, and that's Jim Cornette. I think that what is going to happen here is that whatever was, I said I wasn't going to say what I think, but I will. I think that whatever is being said about him and Stacey might actually be something that is the mountain out of the molehill thing. being, if he had anything to hide, if he thought he was going to be in any kind of trouble, I don't think he would be saying, I'm going to address this on my podcast this week. I think he would be talking to his lawyer and hiding. I don't know what you guys think. I'm not saying that none of this ever happened as far as, because I am, what happened to Kyle? Did he die?
Well, in all fairness, I don't know if you've actually noticed. Some of this stuff has actually hit kind of close to us. I don't know, but if you've seen or not, but there's been quite a few allegations stirring up south of us with Rockstar. Lots, which will make it rather interesting over at Impact with OVE.
Oh.
Yeah, Dave apparently has got massive allegations getting thrown at him. Like,
really?
Massive.
Here's the problem with the whole Jim Cornette thing.
Well,
if you look at
what I was going to, I don't mean to cut you off, but what I was going to say is I am actually Facebook friends with, or she's on my friends list. It's not that we're friends, but Stacy Cornette is actually on my friends list. Okay.
Right.
And Stacy Cornette, a lot of times, has posted pictures of herself hanging out with other dudes, and they look like boyfriend-girlfriend pictures. So I'm not saying that Stacy and Jim don't have some kind of a cuckold thing going on. That I'm not denying that at all. But what I'm saying is I don't know to the level of, I don't know that it goes to the level of you fuck Stacy or you don't get to work. I don't know about all that. Well, see, especially as outspoken as Jim is and as many enemies as he makes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
here's the thing. Like, if that's what they're into, if they're swingers, or whatever the case might be, that's fine. As long as everybody is understandable and agrees to it, that's completely fine. There's no judgment here. I have no judgment against anybody for what they want to do or what they want to be. When you look at the Twitter accounts and stuff and everything else that's been laid out, which, again, look, I don't know what's right or wrong. I'm just going to state the facts that we have seen as us. The facts are that the person who is accusing Jim of this isn't the actual person who it happened to, is a friend of.
Yep.
The texts and emails and stuff, there is parts blanked out and blacked out. So we don't know what was said. From what I can see, it doesn't seem like a conversation that is sensed in either you fuck me or you don't get a job. You know, it almost seems it's a sense of all parties being involved.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you know, this supposedly happened back in like 2003, 2004?
over a few years.
It is 2020 now. If it was that big of an issue, and like you said, Jim Cornette has so many enemies.
Mm-hmm. Well,
why
and that's
was person not on.
That's what I was going to say too. The only person that has come out about this, other than this person on Twitter, is Kenny Bolin, who used to be Jim Cornette's best friend. Used to be. Now hates his guts. Yep. You see? And again, I'm not saying Jim's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty, because that'll be proven in a court. If it goes to court, that is what it is. But to me, his situation seems to me to be, that's their kink. It's probably happened, but it probably didn't happen in the
context.
Yeah, in the context in which this person is putting it. Yes.
Well, I would also like to point out that Jim Cornette is rather infamous on not exactly possessing the best form of tact when it comes to.
No. I love how you're saying this so.
when it comes to
he's the guy that's like, I will hit you with a fucking car.
But what I'm saying is he's not exactly notorious for his way of tact when it comes to self-censorship and knowing when not to speak what he's thinking. That dude is like the clinical depiction of filter lack.
Yes.
And if these allegations are going from so far back, like 17 possible years, you're going to tell me in 17 years something didn't rattle here and go blah by now.
Exactly. Exactly.
It is Jim effing Cornette. Something even like starts to bounce, it immediately finds the funnel out the mouth hole. And it's like, did it blah, blah. 17 years, the dude hasn't said anything about it yet. That, like I said, I'm with you. I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. But going on the track record of James Cornette alone, if this shit was going on, he would have opened his mouth already.
Mm-hmm.
And here's
something would have spilled out by
He
now.
told us, we were talking about bullies earlier. He told us he slapped around Santino Marella because he didn't sell for the Boogeyman in the OVW arena. He said, I slapped that motherfucker around. He doesn't give a shit. He will just say it.
That's what I'm saying. That's why with me, the Cornette allegations are questionable just because we would have heard about it before now.
Mm-hmm.
And not just the simple fact.
Jim himself, because he would have fucked up and opened his mouth.
Right. And here's the biggest thing. We're talking all about Jim Cornette and everything else. Let's take a look at Stacy. She seems like the kind of woman that needs to be a strong-willed woman, isn't afraid to speak her mind, to be married to fucking Jim Cornette.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it's the same thing with her. If something like that had happened, I'm sure she would have,
Right.
And again, like I said, I'm not a betting man, and I don't allegedly. I'm gonna put this allegedly, but if I was a betting man, I would have to say that yes, we know Jim Cornette's into some freaky shit.
That's fine.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Put your tennis racket wherever you want to put your tennis racket,
and that's fine. But it almost seems like some shit happened way back when. And now people are trying to jump onto a bandwagon.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is the only person that's ever came out and said anything.
And I cannot wait to listen to his podcast.
No, I cannot either. I mean, if it comes out that it's true and they did that, then shame on you.
Right. But
I just, until I see otherwise, I'll stand with Jim Cornette because, like I said, he seems like a straight shooter. He don't give a fuck. He will,
like Chris said, he's like what Robin Williams. There's nothing between here and here that is gonna.
That's like I said. That's the only reason I question it. I'm not gonna stand either way. I'm gonna Switzerland this whole ordeal because the day and age we live in. If you stand with someone and then it comes out the wrong way, you're going to be a bastard.
Mm-hmm.
You stand the other way and it comes out, you're still a bastard.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to Switzerland this shit. I'm going to stand in the middle and see where the chips fall and go from there.
I've been
but
called
like
worse.
I said, by your own parents. But
yeah.
but,
they tell me I'm special.
Yeah, the only thing is they keep confusing you with your twin brother Ed. But but what I'm getting at is, given some of these individuals, they're notorious for not biting their tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And these allegations are coming out at a very odd time where the time window, some of these people would have already bit themselves in the ass by now. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that I doubt it happened. I'm not saying I believe it happened. I'm not saying it's bullshit. It didn't happen. I'm just saying, going on track record of personality, it's not in the favor of the people bringing it to light.
No. And on that note, we will end the show.
Yes.
And Dave? I do just want to say, if you don't mind real quick,
sure.
A little off-topic thing. Fans of the group, if you notice in the Facebook page, I did post a link for a GoFundMe. That is actually an indie wrestler from the area. He actually passed away rather rapidly and unexpectedly from cancer. He left behind a family. They're really struggling right now. I know it's trying times financially for all of us right now with everything going on. If you could do anything you can to help them out, even if you can't donate anything, if you could at least share it to get it out to more people to help them. I mean, he left behind a 10-year-old son.
Man.
And his son's also autistic on top of it. So, I mean, it's going to be really hard for him to be able to grasp that he's not going to see daddy anymore.
Right.
And he had a huge fan base. If you guys could share, donate, whatever you can do, it'd be greatly appreciated.
When we sign off tonight, post that again and then mark it as an announcement in the group so it's at the top. Because sometimes if you don't mark things as an announcement, it gets missed by people when they're scrolling or what have you. But David Gold had commented while we were chit-chatting. Yes, it has been announced officially. I don't know if you guys got to watch or not. If you haven't, go back and watch it, or I'll be posting it in podcast form this week. Road Warrior Animal was in the virtual asylum last night for almost 6 hours. He took almost 6 hours with listeners and fans, and he was really fucking cool.
Not only that, but he painted up his face.
Yeah.
to come on to a live stream. I know it seems silly, but to me that's a huge thing. Like, he took the time to really make that an interactive experience. Guys, it's amazing. We have this who's coming up this week?
The Nasty Boys will be this Saturday.
Boys?
But what I was going to mention, what David posted in our chat here, or in the comments here, is yes, it is official. August 29th in the virtual asylum, Mick Foley.
Oh, that's
will be in the virtual asylum August 29th.
Amazing.
And good job, Rocky Turner. Rocky Turner is the guy that books all this talent.
Yes.
So, Rocky, awesome job again.
I think we need to give him an applause for that.
Yes.
So let's not negate that coming up after.
Clap, asshole!
I'm clapping, but hang on. Let's not forget the fact that coming up before that and everything else, what I'm super excited about after the Nasty Boys is Vicky Guerrero.
Yes.
That is going to be an amazing time to hear stories about Eddie and Chavo and even her, everything she did. So head on over there, check that out.
The virtual asylum or the asylum. You can also go to the Asylum Wrestling store to pre-purchase 8x10s or merchandise to be signed.
What do we do if we have like merchandise that we would want?
I can put you in touch with Nick Francis. Nick Francis is actually the one that takes care of that, because he obviously there's a time frame. He needs it to get to ship to him so he can ship it to the talent. So if you have anything for any of those, let me know and I'll put you in touch with Nick.
Okay.
And that being said, I will sign off. Thank you for joining us on the first edition of That's Not Wrestling. Yes, Aaron, you have left your mark again.
Real quick before we sign off, I just want to say it's fine to be angry. It's fine to be upset. Make sure your anger and your angst goes into the right places.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. Take care of each other.
That is literally my thing, and y'all took it.
Yep.
Support what you like, love what you love. Don't be a dick. Make sure you get online, show that support to your favorite indie guy.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody at this point, because still with all this shit going on, they still don't know. A lot of my friends that are indie wrestlers, they're still up in the air. They're at this point hoping September they can finally put shows on for fans, so they're still struggling, a lot of them. So reach out to your favorite indie guy, show them love, get some merch from them, show them love, help them out.
And if any of them, if you guys know any indie wrestlers or anything like that, any of you, if they have a GoFundMe or they need support right now, put them in touch with us. We will definitely let them do whatever they want to do on our page. Yes. Because without the performers, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Because of them, this is what we get to do. So
be on the lookout for episode 100.
Yes, eventually. It's taking forever because of my real shoot job and production things. And there's a lot of content. It's taking forever, but it's going to be worth it. It's probably going to be a 2-parter because the file will be too fucking big.
Let me just say, the trivia questions was an amazing time.
Did you try to get into that, Chris?
Huh?
When we did the trivia?
No.
Okay. It was weird because I'm sorry.
Now I feel bad that I was left out.
No, there was a StreamYard for it. No, but when we were recording it, there were four of us. The fans are like behind the scenes. There were four of us along the bottom, and then I saw a little box pop up in the bottom, and a bottom that I couldn't see the top. I could only see the top of for like 15 seconds, and I went to click it, and then it was gone. I was like, did Chris try to get in and couldn't get in, or what? But anyway, yeah, we did that last week.
Yep.
That must have been one of those days you were ignoring us.
The book.
I don't ignore you. I just go in reclusion. I
do the same thing. No worries. I do this. Some days I'm just like, I don't want to look at Facebook. I don't want to look at the podcast. I don't want to look at fucking work. I don't want to look at nothing. So it's all good. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. Thank to our viewers. Thank to our viewers. Thank you to our viewers for joining us. Nate's going to go to bed. He's got to work in the morning. We'll see you all next week for That's Not Wrestling. Bye-bye.